Hi guys. I just see Diana and Veronica. I'll just keep adding people, but I guess I'll go ahead and get started. Because I'm recording this and I'll be posting this for those who aren't here. So we got some important advisory announcements today. Let me see if y'all can actually hear me. Hold on. Okay. But before that, if y'all can just put into the chat, how is the virtual learning going for you? This is just a quick check-in. Like, how is just this online classes and all of this? How is it going? I don't like it. I don't like it. Yeah. I'm with you guys in that boat. It's like really hard. I also am not liking it. I miss the human interaction and it's a lot for teachers too. It's like we want to help students, but it's hard to do it when it's like all online. I feel you guys. But okay, let's move on from that so we could get on to our CSP update. So we do now have some answers. Last week in our advisory class, we kind of were like, we weren't sure about how this is going to go down, but now we know exactly. This is what's going to happen. Um, College Success Portfolio, right? It's not going to be College Success Portfolio anymore. It's going to be called something else. It's going to be called Presentation of Learning. So basically, instead of CSP, you're now required to do a different defense. It's similar, but it's going to be way shorter. And I'm going to go over like all the details. And then once I go over all the details, you guys can ask me questions as far as what I know right now, right? But here's the highlights of it. So remember how y'all were required to do the identity statements? It was like a whole essay and stuff. So now you don't have to finish up that essay. And I know both of you and some people in our advisory have started it. They didn't finish it, but it's no longer going to be a required essay. It's going to be spoken. That means you're just going to present about who you were, who you want to be, and who you are. So those three things, you're just going to talk about it with bullet points on your slides is it gonna be instead. What's gonna be instead. So that's the first thing. You're only gonna represent one artifact required, not three anymore. That artifact that you're presenting does not need to be proficient. So that's a very new thing. Does not need to be proficient now. And we now have a time thing. It's going to be 20 to 30 minutes now of the presentation. The lowest 20 minutes, and you could go as high as 30 minutes. And here's the thing of how you'll present it. It's going to be presented on Zoom live, or you could even film it beforehand, and that will be your presentation. So far that's the presentation of learning details. So here's a comparison of what it was, right, when we're in school versus what it's going to be. So the CSP, you had to have four proficient competencies. You had to have inquiry, research, all those four, right? And then you had to have to present three artifacts, and it was like an hour long presentation. You had to turn in that identity statement essay. You had to have a panel, right? It was your advisor and two other junior teachers with your family and things like that. And another thing was passing the CSP was a graduation requirement. So that was our old thing. So now with the distance learning, this is the new requirements. You do not have to have a whole portfolio. That means that's why it's not called CSP anymore. It's not called College Success Portfolio. It's going to be presentation of learning. So you don't have to have all four anymore. You don't have to have inquiry, research, all of that anymore. But you do have to talk about and present about one artifact. The other thing is identity statement. You're just going to talk about it. You don't have to type out an essay and get that proficient anymore. And again, it's going to be from 20 to 30 minutes. The panel, how's it going to work? It's just going to be me and another person of your choice. It could be a teacher, family member, friend, etc. Whoever you want to look at your video and or look at your live and give some feedback. And here's the last thing about graduation requirement. Making an effort is a graduation requirement. So notice how it's different. For this one, it says passing as a graduation requirement. This one is making an effort is a graduation requirement. So that's new. And I'm hoping I'm not going fast on that. Okay, so again, it's not CSP anymore. It's going to be called Presentation of Learning. And here's how the outline goes. And again, I'll stop after I'm done like talking about this whole stuff to see if y'all have any questions, but it's gonna be like this. This is how your slides are gonna be. Like, feel free to get started on slides already to get that out the way, but the outline is you're gonna have an introduction, like who are you? You're gonna talk about who I was, plus evidence. Plus evidence means, remember, examples of your story, right? You can even put pictures of your past self, right? That who I was, you're just gonna talk about who you were, include some evidence, like I said, stories, pictures, anything like that. Then you're going to talk about who you are right now. Then after you do this introduction and the who I was and who I am, you're going to present and jump into the artifact that you want to talk about. When you talk about the artifact, you have to talk about like what knowledge did you need for the artifact, what skills did you need, what understandings, and then what real world connections can you make with that artifact to the real world. Then you're going to talk about your leadership skills and how you feel you did with that. At the end of the presentation, near the end, is who I want to be plus your college plan. And then lastly, like you usually have like a last slide with props and appreciation. So that's how the presentation of learning slides is going to look like. Okay, and when are they happening? So the defenses are going to take place from May 26th to June 5th. And I'm going to be scheduling it with you. Here are the conditions though. Your camera and mic must be on for the presentation. And then you'll have to screen share your slides. The way I'm doing this right now, this is called screen sharing, where you guys are viewing the slides, but you could also see me like I'm talking and presenting. So that's how you want to do it. So again, you have to have a mic, you have to have a camera. If any of you guys or whatever have an access issue, that means you don't have a camera to present with. By the way, you can use your phone, like, things like that. You're gonna have to reach out to me so we could work out a plan. And look at this, resubmissions will not happen. If you do not pass, you can still graduate. Basically, what we just want is an effort of you doing this presentation to pass and to graduate. So that's the logistics. And then the final word on our presentations is that the 12th grade team, we're trying to get the last little details together. And I'm going to be posting a template on our Google Classroom so you have an idea of what to put in your slides. And you want to, like, let's say, for example, if someone's doing Ray Vaughn's artifact, you're going to reach out to her. She's going to be the content teacher for that artifact to work with you on how to like improve your slides or to give feedback on the artifact. And so since you no longer need to present a proficient artifact, you should present one that reflects your skills and interests as a student. Whatever artifact you choose, you want to take the stuff you learned from there, the skills you learned, and apply it to who you are. Basically, we want to see that connection. It will serve for the who I am section. And okay, so now that I went through all that, and sorry if it was fast, but I will upload this, guys. What kind of questions do you have about this presentation of learning that you guys are going to do? What questions or feedback do you have about it? You got none? No questions? All right. Thanks, Diana. I don't know, Veronica, if you have any questions or not. Feel free to ask. But yeah, so far, oh, no questions. Okay, thank you, Veronica. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and move on then. So that was about CSP, sorry, presentation of learning. See, I'm also getting mixed up. So that's what's gonna be. We don't yet have the time slots for you to like put in your like when you wanna present and whatnot, but that's gonna be coming out soon. Just stay tuned in. Again, always check the advisory classroom, and then like attending these meetings as well is also helpful. So, okay, great. So last week I did say something different. This past Monday, they told us they keep kind of changing the grade updates for us. So this is actually the thing they're actually going to do now for grades during distance learning. So this is not going to change anymore. Okay, so anything turned in will be graded and added to PowerSchool, whether that's like an N.C, .NC, B, C, whatever. Anything you turn in will be graded. At the end of the quarter, though, your teachers are going to look at completed work and any access issues. So students who had issues to access their work or like have they're working outside of school, you know, whatever access issues you have, we're gonna just have to reach individually for those students who are not doing like their work to see about your quarter 4 grade. If your quarter 4 grade is lower than your quarter 3 grade, your semester grade should still match up to your quarter 3 grade. So what that means is as long as you're doing your work, whatever it is for quarter 4, it shouldn't go lower than whatever your quarter 3 grade is. So that's the new thing. So in the past, it was we were just exempting all your grades except for the A's. Now they're telling us to unexempt all grades except for the ones you haven't turned in. So if you didn't turn anything in, you're going to see an exempt, right? We're trying to just grade the stuff that you are turning in. It's basically what's happening with grades right now. And again, we're doing this to benefit everybody, like to help them, like, hey, whatever you turn in, we're going to grade. We're going to put it in the grade book. But if you didn't do something, we will exempt it. But keep in mind, there's some things. Let me go on to the next thing. And here's some examples. Like, so let's say you had a C in AP Gov for quarter 3. And during this distance learning time, quarter 4, if you got an A, then we're gonna take the two. Your average is gonna be a B. So your semester grade would be a B in that scenario, right? You could raise your grade. Example 2, if you had a B, let's say in pre-calculus in quarter 3, and then in distance learning you earned a C. Since your quarter 4 is lower quarter 3, your semester grade will still be a B, provided that you're still doing the work and participating, for example, in pre-calculus. So you still got to do your stuff. And as long as we see that you're trying, you shouldn't get below your quarter 3 grade is what's happening. Now, this is the important thing about like failing any courses, right? If you had an NC, for example, in Spanish for quarter 3, you did not do any work during distance learning, right? Like 0 work. That means your NC will be your final semester grade. What that means is if you need that to graduate, you can't graduate. Or if you need that for a college that is expecting you to pass a class, they might, change the decision. So that's super important to know, like in case if somebody was failing quarter 3 class, you want to make sure that you're doing your work for distance learning so that you actually pass. What's going to end up happening as far as grades is that if you don't, like if there's a student who doesn't do any work for this distance learning stuff, what you get is called an incomplete. We can't fail students like legally during this time, but what you would get is an incomplete. Incomplete means you do have to make up the class. It just won't negatively impact your like grades or transcripts or things like that. You get an incomplete, you'd have to make it up. And they say like in the fall, like there's not going to be any summer classes. In the fall, you'd probably be re-enrolled, or they might do another like distance learning thing, but that's how it's going to work out. Okay, so graduation. So again, if you had an NC in quarter 3, it is possible to still fail your classes during this time. But most importantly, you can easily make the grade up this quarter as long as you turn in the work that you can. If you fail a class you need in order to graduate, we have to hold your diploma until you make up those credits. Again, like I mentioned about the incomplete. It's also important to note that colleges can rescind your acceptance if you fail a class. Therefore, again, it's important that you're engaging with the work. If you can't, you have to be like, again, constant communication with teachers, advisors. I'm always happy to work with students. And again, guarantee if you reach out to your senior teachers, Raymond, Garcia, they'll wait for you. They'll work out a plan. We're accepting like late work for full credit. So just get on it. Do it not for the grade, but do it for your learning is what I just recommend. But that's that. Do you guys have any questions on grading? Because it's like a little bit different. So Diana and Veronica, if you have any questions on grading. Nope. All right, cool. All right, thank you guys. College work, it's around the corner. So this is a reminder from Carla that May 1st is that really 1 week away? It is, that's crazy. So May 1st is 1 week away. So all four-year colleges want a decision by then, unless they told you otherwise, but that's rare. So again, if you haven't yet, book an appointment with Carla to review your financial aids so that you guys can make a good choice for the college based on the awards. And again, if you're not attending a four-year college, you also want to book an appointment with Carla because we want to make sure, like, when you graduate from us, that you are set in whatever you decide to do. And if you don't have Carla's Remind, I believe you two do. Make sure that this is the code. You text 81010. This is for everyone else in advisory. And then make sure that you joined her advisory Google Classroom where she's posting her college updates. And so I'm going to upload these slides so you'll be able to book appointments with her here. In my next slide, it's like who needs to still sign up. So in my advisory, it's LaShanti, Faith, and DJ. Just make sure that you sign up to Carla's advisory by texting this number thing to 81010. Okay, and other announcements, guys. So you can still buy a yearbook. Again, if you go to treering.com and if you enter this code, I'm going to be uploading these slides. So you could just open this up if you're going to do that. Email your senior portrait to Mr. Garcia, though, for the email during this time. In my other slides, I did put some information of a past student who was doing senior portraits. If you haven't yet, you could just, the contact details are there. You could just text me a reminder. I could give you the details on how to take your senior portraits. And be sure to submit a senior quote. Again, if those were in my last week's slides where I linked up senior quotes survey and also like there's another senior survey that you want to also do. All right. So other than that, guys, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much all the new information. Let me know if you all have any questions. I did make that teacher Instagram account. It's at Sedano Love. And then Dan, wait, you're the one who suggested me doing a TikTok, right? I think I did it and I posted it. So yeah. Let me know what's useful to post or message there for advisory activities, ideas, or details. Let's see. On TikTok? Yeah. So Ricardo said he was a meeting with Carla. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, Ricardo texted. I'm hoping I could see him next week. A lot of people had some stuff they had to do this Friday, so it's okay. So they let me know. Yeah, I did it on TikTok, but I uploaded it to my Instagram. So I did it. So let me know what other things you guys need me to do. But yeah. So let me know if you guys have any questions or need anything from me. I'm happy to work with you guys. And I'm happy to see you guys logged in. Thank you guys. All right. No questions? Awesome. All right, y'all. So again, stay in contact, please. I like when you guys let me know on how you're doing and all that stuff. And again, let me know if I need to work with anybody to help support you in catching up with any work. Again, don't be overwhelmed. Just get on it. Again, we're all accepting your work and you still should be getting credit. You should not be worried about failing as long as you're turning in your work. Other than that, all right, guys, make sure you follow me. I'll try to post some more stuff on there. Have a happy Friday.